Diaries of a Madman. Chapter 187. Part 3 of 5. Come on, Nav. Where's everybody else? Most of them are at the bunker. A few are on the way here on the Ambassador. Twilight's, probably somewhere around here. I had some pressing business to take care of, so I had to come back early. Where's everybody else? Smiles and our first new hire are in the forge, the Naga is in the sun room, and Silver is out getting lunch. Cool cease, you and the Naga are the only two that need to hear this anyway. I carried her into the sun room, where the Naga was def's chillaxin'. Sub. Welcome back to Canterlot, Navarone, he said with a nod. I assume you have more stories of your great deeds. You assume correctly. I finally dropped Doppel and sat at the Naga's table. But first, we need to have a quick little chat. About what? Doppel asked as she found her own chair. Wait. What happened to your eyes? Something about the weather at the bunker made them instantly change to bright green. It also made my hair sprout flowers, but that didn't last. Anyway, you know how I was planning a coup. Vaguely, Doppel replied. I assumed, the Naga added. Well, I wasn't the only one. Aqua's crazy ass took over Celestia, then took over me. I got control over her in the bunker, which gave me control over Celestia. I held a summit in the Crystal Empire to decide what to do with her. In short, we decided to brainwash her into becoming the perfect princess. Bichlscha is dead and Kanonlscha rules in her place. So you have exterminated the elementals for good? Ames asked. I did not, no. I did turn Aqua into my slave, though. She totes hates it. We also had all the elementals cleansed of their corruption, so they won't be nearly as horrifyingly insane. So why didn't you just marry Celestia? Doppel asked. Because I didn't wanna. Did Silver actually go on her vacation? Of course not. So what was the bunker like? It was pretty neat. How was Canterlot? Boring. How was the festival? Fucking rad, aside from the bounty hunters. How was the clan? They were well, the Naga said. And they're quite interested in seeing you again. No, they aren't, they just think they are. The instant they realize I have disgusting lady parts instead of a wonderful dick, they'll probs either kick me out or force me to get married. Unless they already know and just want to test your skills, the Naga offhandedly said. Unless that, yes. But since I know that's just a hypothetical. It's not, actually. I just stared at him. I told them. Why? They asked why you were avoiding the caves. I told them the truth. Wow. That's not a bad thing, Doppel said. They want you there to test your skills, Nav. Prove to them that women aren't just for looks. Oh, as if that will make them change their minds. Remember, I used to be a dude. They'll use that as their excuse after I hoop some snake person ass. Nav is likely correct, the Naga said. Which is why they also invited Kot. They have no intention of inviting her into the clan, but they do want to see the purported female warrior. Did you mention that she was a murderer? I ask. No. I merely mentioned that she was likely one of the most formidable opponents I have found in my journey, despite being female. Well, I need to drop something off there anyway, so I guess we'll go at some point. I also need to go back to the clan under the Sphinx in Egypt, because apparently I actually am the one. The one what? Doppel asked. Like, the chosen one. Turns out that was me. I need to go back and prove it to those guys so they'll join my war. You're what now? The Naga asked. I'm leading Equestria into war against Tartarus. Wow. Why? A bunch of reasons. The biggest one is the big-ass spring of corrupted magic under it. With that cleansed and under my control, I'll become the most powerful person on the planet. Another reason is because that's where the last fire elemental is. Another is because the best way to weaken a being that is powered by discord is to get rid of a huge chunk of the discordant population. A pretty big one is because the local species of Tartarus have been under constant siege by the dregs of society, and it's time to fix that and bring them into the world. Nobody's gonna be upset if we lead a crusade against the demons of hell. We've already been offered support by a few people, and I'm pretty confident we'll be able to effectively steamroll that place by the time I fully retrofit the army. It sounds like a war worthy of legends. I'm sure my clan would be happy to join your crusade. It sounds risky, Doppel said. Tartarus is supposedly the most dangerous place on the planet. Well, I'm gonna find out firsthand, I said. Because I've been just about everywhere else. Tartarus will be the boss battle to end all boss battles. So, how long will you be in Canterlot this time? Doppel asked. About 24 hours. Then I'll be spending some time in a coma. After that will probably be a whirlwind of activity. Not as long as I was hoping, but it's still plenty of time to meet the first potential new hire. He did say he had already met you, though. First, I want to go get into something a little less presentable. Mooney put a lot of work into the dress and I feel super sexy, but it's not very comfortable. I would be delighted to help you prepare, my lady. Doppel sweetly said. Good. I've missed your tender touch. Say, where's Spider? I figured he'd be playing music. At the library, Doppel said. They let him borrow more books than usual since he's better at hunting mice than their cats. At the moment, I think he's helping a pony xenobiologist write a report. Neat. Then shall we? Of course. She flew out of her seat and pulled my chair back for me. I didn't actually need it, but whatever. When we got out into the main hall, she flew up the stairs and unlocked my door for me while I trudged up the stairs like a peasant. By the time I finally got to my bodacious crib, she already had 3 outfits lined up for me. I really don't know how you managed without me, my lady. It was tough. Cot tried, but all the creepy possessiveness kinda ruined it. Sunny ended up falling into the role because everyone else found it too demanding. I finally walked up to the bed, where she had everything laid out. While I started looking them over, she began undressing me. Apparently my choices were a sundress, a simple blouse and skirt, or a fairly thick and plain grey dress. Grey fit my mood, so I nodded at it. I guess that'll do, though I don't know why you didn't pick any pants. This may be your second impression with him, but it's still an important one. It's his first time greeting you as his employer, so he needs to see you dressed at least somewhat like a lady. Whatever, I guess. So tell me about this person. You said we've met. Do you remember Atlantis? I do. I also remember hearing that Equestria was sending ambassadors to try and get the prisoners freed. They did. He was one of them, a griffin. Apparently he spent some time speaking to Twilight. Oh yeah, the super gay one. I guess that explains why he's in the forge with Smiles. A sissy little predator is exactly what he wanted. Sure was, Doppel said with a nod. And Smiles has been taking full advantage of the situation. So tell me this griffin's name. Aurora. Seriously. That's not his real name, obviously. He didn't actually tell us. Apparently he wants to leave his old life behind entirely, and I don't really blame him. So what brought him here? I ask. She finally got all my clothes off, so she dumped the grey dress over me and quickly slid it into place. One of your airships, actually. The princess wanted to ask them all questions. I meant here, not Canterlot. Why did he want to work for me? Apparently you made an impression on all of them. The others tried coming here as well. Smiles and I spent some time talking to them, but I didn't offer any of them jobs. Aurora was the only one I trusted not to steal everything and run. Well, whatever, I guess. Once she found stockings for me, she placed a small vibe in me and tucked the battery into the top of the stockings. One quick test, she pumped it, making me shiver in delight. Good. So are you ready, my lady? I walked over to a random pair of shoes and slid into them. Yab. Shall we go out the back? Absolutely not. There's no need to subject my lady to the cold. Go to the sun room. I shall fetch him for you. K. That left her to slide out the back and fly on down. As soon as she stepped out, I walked over to where she hung up the other dress and grabbed the bag of seeds Celestia gave me. I took them to the desk, where I had tape. When one of the seeds was firmly in my belly button, I flipped the dye glass on my table and walked downstairs. Twilight was waiting in the day room with the Naga. As soon as she saw me, she teleported forward and hugged me. Thanks Celestia, you're all right. But she didn't do anything to help me, I replied, hugging my mare back. I did get some pretty useful info, though. The TLDR version is that Discord is making me look like him, and when the transformation is complete, he'll own me wholly and turn me into his wife. Alright, that sounds really horrible. But before we go into it more, can you define TLDR? It stands for too long, didn't read. In this particular instance, it would equate to a long story short. Got it. So I guess that gives you more reasons to cut everything off. Sure enough. She sighed and finally dropped down. And that one means. Sure enough. I put a seed in my belly button a few minutes ago. I plan to enter the coma as soon as it matures. I'll be giving this one to Celestia, because I figure she can probably keep one safer than anyone else. No, you're going to give this one to me, because I'm the best mare for you and you trust me more than that sock puppet. Be nice to Nulscha. She hasn't done anything to deserve disrespect. Her sins have been washed away. In fact, she seems quite sweet. So you had a chance to talk to her after you escaped Discord, but you couldn't spend any time finding me. I didn't know where you were and I didn't want to search the entire city. I also needed some stuff from the house and I figured you would end up here eventually. Hell, where's Luna? In one of your bathrooms, taking a shower. She said she would be more comfortable staying here than in the palace. She's welcome to a room on the 3rd floor. Her accommodations won't be as spacious, but I'm sure she'll probably find some kind of horrific, ungodly magical solution to that. Are you sure having her here is wise? The Naga asked. No. But she's been loyal so far, so I have no reason to doubt her. Twilight, can you do something for me? Anything. Draw a teleportation symbol in the room directly upstairs from here. I want to get in direct contact with the bunker so our troops can rest at home between shifts. You don't want a general teleport sign for that, Twilight said. You'll want a direct link sigil. I'll need to get some books from the library here, but I can have it done before night. Awesome. I'm not planning on leaving the house again, so I should be here whenever you finish. Will it get me out of tummy rub timeout? It just might, I said, bopping her on the nose. Then I'll get started right away. Her horn lit up and she vanished, just in time for Doppel to walk in with a semi-familiar griffin. I think some sun, a few showers, and a few days of real food did wonders for the guy. Aurora demurely followed Doppel, who stopped in front of me and waved a hoof behind her. I present Aurora, my lady. The dude bowed and said, my lady. You were nice to us while we were in Atlantis. I try to be nice to everybody, my lady. Not a bad idea, sometimes. Do you have any experience working in a noble's household? No. I spent most of my time as a scout for a Griffin naval vessel. Our boat was presumably lost at sea while I was out scouting. I flew and flew and flew, looking for it, but got tired and fell into the ocean. The water elementals eventually saved me. Stand up. He rose, but didn't actually meet my gaze. I can understand not wanting to go back to being a scout, but you don't have any other reason to go home. Not really. I joined the army because I lost most of my family when I was young. After what you did for the changelings, I decided you were also nice. When I found out you were a noble lady, I decided I'd see if I could work for you. I don't know much about working in a house like this, but I'll do my absolute best to learn. I'm happy to give you a chance, I said. That made him beam, of course. Do you already have a room? I do. Thank you, my lady. Don't thank me yet. Doppel's your boss, now. You're her first toy. Maybe not my first, she said, finally turning the vibe on. But I'll definitely do my best to work you to the bone. I think there are places in this house that haven't seen a duster in ages. You said he's the first new hire, I said. Are there others? I have a few prospects. 2 mares are supposed to come by for an interview soon. One is a cook and gardener and the other is a maid. They do come as a package, though. We need a cook, a gardener, and another maid, I said. So a package deal is fine by me. I guess a lesbo couple. I dunno. I assume, but maybe not. I haven't gotten all the details yet, I just know that the one I spoke to said they'd only work together. Whatever. Like I said, we need all of those things. Unless Aurora can cook or garden. Until the airship finally hit land, I hadn't seen a plant in about 6 years, he said. I did occasionally get kitchen duty on our ship, but that was also 6 years ago. Well, that brings us up to 3 servants and a cook/gardener, I said. Assuming we hire those 2, at least. I think Smiles suggested 4 servants, so we'd need just 1 more. I'll see what I can find, Doppel said. Any race preferences? Nope. Feel free to take your time with the last one. We can probs last a while with 3. I'll see what I can do to find the best fit, she said with a nod. Now then, let's get you properly settled in. Of course, Miss Doppel. For some reason, that made my maid squee. She quickly dragged the guy off, presumably to find some kind of uniform for him. The toy clicked off before she turned the corner. Society is strange, the Naga said. There are so many layers of rank. Servants, head servants, vassals, soldiers, nobles, royals. It's all so confusing. How do you keep everything in order in your head? Social conditioning, I said. Most people who grow up in societies learn the natural pecking order quickly enough. Equestria's close enough to some of the human cultures, so I'm pretty decent at knowing who is ranked where. For an outsider looking in, I can see why it would be confusing. This house is large. Do you think there might be room to bring my family to visit? Yes. And if not, we can make arrangements elsewhere. Excellent. I would like to take them to that meat restaurant. Yeah, that place was the bomb diggity. So what have you guys been doing while I was gone? I have begun writing. I've found that getting my thoughts on paper makes keeping track of them easier. It is also helping my ability to read. Doppel has been cleaning. Silver has been racking her mind on your finances while avoiding advances from a crazed stalker. Smiles has been making weapons. He's making weapons. I ask. For who? Whom? Luna said from right behind me, making me flinch and spin around. She was just passively staring at me. And greetings, my lady. First off, don't be that guy, I said, bopping her on the nose. And second, start with the greetings next time. I didn't realize ponies could be that quiet, the Naga said. Stepping silently is a very good skill to have, Luna replied. For whom are these weapons being produced? Ponies, the Naga replied. Where? In the forge, I said. I want to see them, so let's go. I have had my fill of the cold, the Naga said. I will be in the cellar, practicing. Have fun. Luna and I walked out the back while he slithered to the kitchen. So what do you think of the house? I approve, Luna replied. I hope I have time to rip the spirits out before Zecora returns and scolds me for trying. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that, I said. Plausible deniability and all that. For reference, Zecora already knows about them. In fact, she sees dead people. The ability to see beyond is very rare. I am not surprised she has it. Zecora is a very interesting mare. Sure is. Her belly is kinda bristly. I'm sure you much prefer mine. It's not a competition, I said, scratching one of her ears. It happened to be right as Smiles was walking out of the forge. He froze when he saw Luna. When he noticed my hand on her ear, his mouth dropped. Sub. What are you doing here? He demanded. Well, I live here, I said. Not you. Her. Nav, what is she doing here? I am here to inspect your work, she replied. I would like to see the weapons you have made. NNAV. Yet. I ask with a grin. What is she doing here? She's here to inspect your work, I said with a shrug. She would like to see the weapons you've made. Why is she in Canterlot? Well, I live here, Luna slowly replied. Is your mind well, Sunshine Smiles? Have the metal fumes gotten to you, perhaps? I'm so utterly confused, he finally whispered, moving his head back and forth between the two of us. I'm not surprised, I said, tousling his mane. Luna picked him up with magic and set him aside so the two of us could enter. I guess let me start here, Smiles said, following right behind us. I thought you were in hiding. I was, Luna said. But no longer. Now, I am my lady's vassal. You serve Nav now. Humbly and with honor. Let us discuss these weapons of yours. All right. These are the two I've finished so far. The first was a spear with what looked like a harness to attach it to armor. The second was a spike attached to a horse boot. The spear has a quick release mechanism, to drop it in case it gets stuck. It's mostly for a pure charge, or for funneling opponents. The next thing I'm going to make is a shield to go with it, to protect more of the wielder's body. It'll be heavy, but magic can fix that. That enables the phalanx, I said with a nod. We'll have to drill the army in that maneuver. It also allows a turtle, if you use unicorns, Luna said. 3 unicorns can hold a wall of steel up a lot more easily than holding a wall of magic up. And thrusting a spear forward is easier than forming a fireball. What about the spike? I ask. Allow me to demonstrate, he said, pulling the thing off the anvil. He reached back around to one of his back legs and slid it on. The spike faced forward, toward his head. That seems kinda worthless, I said. That made him grin. The boot tapped on the floor twice and the spike dropped down. He lifted his hoof up and I realized the spike was on a small hinge. When his hoof was high enough off the ground, the spike locked into place and he kicked backwards. Not useless, just hard to use, he said, leaving his hoof in the air. I haven't figured out how to make it go back yet. I walked over and slid the thing off his leg. It's an interesting concept, but it seems like a good way to get yourself McFucked up pretty quickly. Imagine what happens if your leg gets stuck in whatever you stab. I'm working on a quick release for the spike, he said. That will come after I figure out how to unlock them again. Skip unlocking them, I said. Make a quick release and make them disposable. This should be an emergency use only weapon. It's just so utterly inconvenient. Skip building it entirely, Luna said. I have already given Jack plans for several pony weapons. The spears and shields are a good idea, but the claws of old quite handily trump the spike you have made. Describe these claws, I said. As with the spike, they go on the hooves and they have a locking mechanism. However, by default, they are on the front hooves and they are locked in place against your leg. When you release them, they lock into place perpendicular to your hoof, acting somewhat akin to the talons of griffins. Well, I was on the right track, he said with a shrug. Navarone has also given me a few ideas for other weapons for unicorns. The throwing knives and the ranged weapons she possesses are intriguing. I am confident I could use knives or bolts with magic, saving strength by using steel to kill my enemies. You can, I said. Taya's thrown bolts around with magic with pretty good accuracy. I'm sure if she practiced, it could easily be pinpoint. And I'm sure if Rarity ever put her mind to it, she could wield a dozen knives at once. If she can hold a needle, she can hold a knife. I believe I shall begin practicing soon. For now, I ask permission to use the forge. You have it, I said with a nod. Do you need help? I can make Smiles stay. I do not. It will take me a few hours to gather ingredients, though. With your permission, I would like to go do so. Go for it, as long as you don't have to do anything illegal. I will not. I shall be back as soon as I can. Her horn lit up and she vanished. So why is Luna your vassal now? Smiles asked. Because Aqua made me accept Luna's oath. So why did Aqua make you do anything? Because Aqua forcefully took me over before I left. She what? Are you really going to make me repeat myself? He immediately jumped up to hug me. I'm so sorry, Nav. That sounds awful. It was, I sighed, actually hugging him back. When it got old, I finally let him go. Thankfully, he stepped back without me having to threaten him. But it's over now. So how did you get free from Aqua? Help from another human construction, an old AI left to guard the bunker. Twilight's working on drawing a teleportation symbol for it, so you'll likely get to see the place soon. What? Isn't it dangerous? Only in the bunker itself. Topside is now completely under our control. Jack will probably be needing your help. Good. It's been quiet here without everyone around. I'm used to hustle and bustle now. I'm looking forward to a bit of quiet. I just don't know when I'm going to get it. So why are you back in Canterlot now? He asked. I had to take care of some important business. That's part of why Luna is still my vassal. His eyes stared at me strangely for several long seconds. He finally asked, Are you the princess now? No. The clash between titans has ended with no victims that anybody will miss. Well, I guess the less is said about it, the better. Are you enjoying our new butler? His ears shot straight up and a smile immediately filled his face. You hired him? Yes. Yes. Gotta go, see ya, bye. He galloped out the door and immediately slid on an ice patch, sending him face first into the snow. A part of me wanted to see what Luna was making, but considerably more of me wanted to go take a long bath before Taya got home and I had to deal with her crazy ass. Fleur and Gilda would probably also be super needy and any chance of me time would pretty much disappear. All that in mind, I started walking back to the house, ignoring Smiles as he pulled himself off the ground. That is a very poor way of thinking about your lovers and daughter, Aqua said, doing her best to not sound disapproving. There is absolutely nothing wrong with needing some time to yourself. There is absolutely something wrong with calling your daughter crazy and calling your lovers super needy. Your opinion has been noted. I can't exactly help what I think, though, so I don't know what you expect me to do about it. Negative reinforcement is key, she said. As are alternative ways of thinking. Taya isn't crazy, she's eccentric and loves her mommy just a little too much. Gilda and Fleur aren't needy, they're just high maintenance. Which, still isn't a good thing. Obviously not, but it's marginally better than calling them needy. You can bump them down from high maintenance to overly doting later. You're super needy, too. I finally got back inside, where it was much warmer. Smiles was still struggling to get in, so I left the door cracked for him. Nobody was in the sunroom or the main hall, so I walked up to my room in a comfortable silence. I locked my door behind me and dropped my clothes on the way to the bathroom. Any thoughts of potential me time were immediately dashed. Doppel had already drawn me a steaming bubble bath and was waiting for me, disguised as a sexy human in a very skimpy maid outfit. "I wanted to welcome you home properly, my lady," she said with a deep curtsy. "So I took the liberty of drawing you a bath." "Thank you. Why are you human? I know you love my real body, but I also know how it feels to be around your own race. And more, I know how it feels to be away from them. So I thought I'd become one of those porn stars you showed me on the laptop. Are you going to be joining me in the bath? Maybe later. I have a few other things to do for your welcome home." "Cool, I guess. Then I'm just gonna slide on up in there." And I did just that. When I resurfaced, she curtsied again and walked off, leaving me with a perfect view right up her skirt. It wasn't exactly what I was hoping for, but I knew Doppel wouldn't waste my time. The water was nice and warm, so I finally let myself luxuriate. Not having to fill the tub myself was just icing on top. End of part 3.